Everybody, I'm Kevin with Ezekiel Defense.
I am Paul.
Paul's back with another video. And this is a question that we get asked all the time. And that is, hey, I just got a gun, or they're relatively new, and they want to carry appendix. But for a dude, obviously it's really scary thinking about putting a gun over the manhood.
Yeah.
And so I thought the best person to answer this question would be Paul, because I can't carry appendix because I like me cookies. So I figured I would let Paul handle this video completely solo because he's going to have the idea.
Kevin, you can come back.
It's fine, Paul. I get it. I'm fat.
That is not how we were supposed to start this video, but we're going to roll with it, guys. So yes, carrying appendix takes some getting used to, just like carrying a gun concealed takes getting used to. It's all about finding the right fit and function of the holster and the type of pistol that you want to carry. If you're going to carry a 2011, which is a double stack 1911 appendix carry, yeah, that's going to be really uncomfortable for a lot of the time, right? But just to put it in proportion, I'm 6'4", about 255-ish is usually where I stay weight-wise. I do have a little bit of a gut, right? But I'm able to carry appendix. It was not comfortable at first. It took a long time to get used to. It took a long time to find the right holster setup for me to be able to do what I wanted to do, but actually be comfortable on long drives. I've worn this driving to the beach and driving all over the place. I've worn it for up to 12, 16 hours at a time. Are you going to feel like nothing's there? No, that's dumb. You're going to realize it's there, and sometimes it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but having it on me outweighs the very few times that it's kind of uncomfortable. Okay. The biggest thing about carrying an appendix is the biggest thing about carrying concealed in general, right? It's having the right gear. You don't want a stretchy belt from Walmart or something that you bought at American Eagle, right? Those aren't going to work. You need to buy yourself a decent belt with the scuba webbing and the stiffness. Having the right gear makes your life a lot easier. Okay. Now, carrying concealed, you're not pulling your gun in and out 24/7. Okay. So, Kevin, if you would, I want you to check this gun just so we can show that it is empty. I've already emptied the mag in the round, but we're on video. You're checking it.
It's clear.
Okay. So, when I go put my stuff on or take it off, it's exactly what I do, right? I have my mag in here, my gun's loaded. I then take it and I put the whole thing into the safe. I'm not taking my gun out. I'm not doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And then when I get it out, I take it back out, slide it, hook it, crook it. We're ready to go. Gun never comes out of the holster, right? There's no need for me to get my gun out of the holster. The way I have everything set up, they're in safes, right? Because in North Carolina, if you have children under the age of 18, you have to make sure that your guns are locked up. If they're not locked up, you can be held liable if something bad happens, okay? So my gun never comes out of the holster unless I'm dry firing or something to that effect, right? But if I'm taking it to go with me, stays in the holster, put my holster on, we're ready to rock and roll. Now, the biggest part of carrying appendix, when you find that belt that you want, they usually come with Raptor buckles, right? So they're metal buckles that clasp together, not the little lever that goes through a hole on a leather belt, right? So these are a lot more adjustable, so you can actually make it to where it's comfortable. But the problem was with the buckle, if it's right here in the front, the piece sticks out and it kind of looks weird, right? So I never found a way around it. And I was talking to a buddy I used to work with, thanks, Steve. He was like, just slide the buckle to the left. So that's what I do. Slide the buckle past this first belt loop. Belt works fine, right? Now, if for some reason you have to draw the gun, right, and then you have to put it back up, just like any other position on your belt or on your body, you have to pay attention to what you're doing. Okay. This isn't outside the waistband holster where you're shooting and you're just throwing it back in like you see the guys do on YouTube just to get views, right? It's about making sure that you're safe. Okay. Now, if I'm going straight down, put this gun back in this holster, there is a little bit of cant back towards my body. Okay, but if you watched our last video, these guns do not just go off by themselves. They're not going to be sitting there and all of a sudden a round comes out of the chamber. For the bullet to be fired, there has to be some type of physical activity around the trigger to make it happen. Okay, so I pull my clothing back, right? I check my holster as I'm putting it in there. There's nothing in there, and then I just rotate my handle into my belly and push down. That's it. But it's going to be the exact same thing if you're carrying a 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. If you're a weird inside the waistband cross draw guy, no judgment, I guess. It's going to be the same setup, right? Because this isn't like fast stuff. If you're having to reholster your concealed carry, something bad has just happened. And honestly, you might not ever reholster that gun again until you get it back after whatever investigation's done. Because if you're pulling your concealed carry pistol, it shouldn't be to show your buddies. It shouldn't be to show off. It should be to defend yourself from serious bodily injury or death, or a family member, somebody that needs help as well. And if that's the case, this is something we can go on about in a different video as well. But you need to keep cover the threat, so you're not just going to stick your gun right back up. Okay, so those are the basics. If you're driving, just because your manhood's down there doesn't mean any different than if it was on your hip, right? I don't want to shoot my manhood off, but I trust the gun that I carry. I trust the holster that I carry, and I don't mess with it. You see a lot of these magnets that go in vehicles to hold your gun while you're driving. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life, because now you're unnecessarily moving your pistol back and forth. You don't need to do that. Secondly, those don't have any trigger guard. There's nothing covering the trigger. So you get into a wreck, that gun's going to go flying. That magnet's not strong enough to withhold that gun onto that magnet to a wreck. Not going to happen. So it's just going to go flying. It could get wrapped around something. It could get poked. There's any number of things that can happen. So if you're worried about it, just put the gun in the holster, put the holster on, and then don't touch it. Leave it alone. It's not a toy. It's a tool. Okay? Good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. We're going to switch sides. You sit there.
It's good, right?
It is weird.
Perfect. There was a story that came out. We've told this in the class before. I think it was like 2 years ago, out of our state, a couple cities over. There was a gentleman who was stopped at a red light, and he had a.
I'm gonna do this on camera just to show you guys that there's not like some big scary thing that happens when you holster a pistol when you're carrying appendix.
He was at a stoplight, and he was carrying appendix, and he had reached down, and he had lifted his shirt, drew the gun. Not sure why. There was no threat. I don't know what he was doing, and I have no idea. But in the process of him drawing the firearm out, looking at it, taking a picture, whatever it is that he was doing with it, when he holstered it back, when the light turned green, his index finger got stuck between the trigger and the holster. So when he slammed the gun down,
no bang. By the way, no bang.
No bang. He ended up shooting himself in the testicle. He was very lucky that he was right near a fire department, was able to pull directly in, and they were able to immediately start life-saving at that point, and he survived. So that story started circulating. People were like, "Oh, that's why appendix is bad." No, I feel for the dude, but I've never been in a situation where I've just been. I don't take my gun out of my holster to play with it. And I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was trying to fix something, but you see a lot of time with like a whole bunch of like YouTube and like Instagram influencers. They'll put their camera like up on their visor, and then they'll be at a stoplight. They'll lift their shirt, pull their gun out, show it off. Now, I'm sure the gun's clear. I don't know, but that's the thing that we just don't want to do. That dude was just at a red light, flipped it up, drew it out for whatever particular reasoning, and as he stuck it in, index finger got stuck in the trigger.
Yep.
Gunshot went off, and luckily he survived.
You guys remember like 2 minutes ago when I was talking about just leave the gun in the holster? That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Stop messing with it. It's not a gun. I mean, it's not a toy. It's a tool, right? So if you want to show it off to your buddy, show it off to your buddy at the house, or wait till you get somewhere.
Yeah.
If you want to mess with it and just play with it, wait till you get to the house so you make sure it's clear and you're not trying to drive. And most people can't even text on their phone and drive at the same time. You're definitely not going to be able to reholster a gun while you're driving. It's just not.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to bring that article up because again, everyone started blaming the position. For some reason we're blaming holsters in the position rather than just blaming the individual.
Right.
Unfortunately,
That's like you blame the Armalite Rifle 15 for bad people doing bad things.
Yep.
So
Yep.
same concept is life accountable.
Yeah. Well, hopefully,
Back on that soapbox. I'm sorry, guys.
hopefully you guys enjoy the video. I do get that question all the time. Is like, hey, I want to carry appendix, but man, I'm terrified. Now, for females, of course, they're fine with it, but men have a hard time with that. So
Yeah.
Paul will be the best guy.
It's just getting used to it. Just make sure you got the right gear. Don't carry it in Uncle Mike's holster with a nylon belt.
You'll be fine. Yeah. So again, thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys again for liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. If you have any comments below, and we'll get to you on the next one. Appreciate you guys.
Your car's on a holster.
Boom.